Well, howdy, roofers, and welcome to Roofer Growth Hacks, the podcast that's dedicated to highlighting those in the roofing industry, learning how they overcame growth challenges with creative growth hacks, and connecting them with others in the roofing industry. I'm your host, Chris Hunter, founder and chief growth officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. Howdy, howdy. My name is Chris Hunter, and welcome to today's workshop, the 2025 Guide to Upsell and Cross-Sell Campaigns for Roofers. Again, I'm Chris Hunter. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of roofingsites.com and also the author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. What we're going to talk about today is something that is going to be practical. It's going to be tactical. It's something that you can take away from this workshop, plug into your roofing company, and be able to start getting more sales, because ultimately that's what we all want, right? We want more sales. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into this. All right. First of all, we got a problem in our industry. Most roofers walk away way too early. Okay. They get the job, they get the invoice paid, and then they walk off. There's no follow-up, no upsells, no reactivations, just going back to your customers over and over and over again. And that's a huge issue. There's a lot of money that is being left on the table. And I know that this is an issue in our industry because we have audited, assessed, right, thousands of marketing plans from all sorts of different roofing companies throughout the United States. And we know the biggest thing that is out there that nobody is doing is going back to your database, your customers over and over and over and over again. But here's the deal. Fortune 500 companies understand this, right? They understand this principle and they apply it. But the problem is, as small business owners, for the most part, we're just too busy to go back to our database, to create campaigns, to create upsell campaigns, to create cross-sell campaigns. And it's just leaving money on the table, right? We all know, right? And like I said, Fortune 500 companies know this, that it's 10 times easier to sell to somebody that has purchased from you and had a positive experience, right? So why don't we go back? Why don't we do this? Well, we're going to tackle some of those things here today. All right. So here's this workshop. It is for you. If you run a roofing company, want higher profits. Okay. I don't know about you. I want higher profits. I want to be able to go out to my customers over and over and over again. You're tired of paying for leads that don't convert. Okay. You've got a list of past customers or unclosed leads, and you want to use automation and AI to do more with less. AI has come a long way in the past couple of years, and we're using AI with some of our clients with most of our clients to be able to really move the needle. And some of the things that we're going to talk about here today kind of pertain to that. Okay, so by the end of this workshop, all right, you're going to have a proven upsell and cross-sell campaign framework, right? We're going to go over 10 plus campaign ideas tailored for your roofing company. We're going to have some ChatGPT prompts, all right, for you to write emails and send out text messages and even call people with call scripts, right? Because sometimes people just don't know what they need to say on the phone when they do call out. So we have to have a call script for that. And you're going to get this all bundled up into a nice little downloadable workbook. By the way, most of this is in my book. Almost everything that we're going to talk about today, and I can't remember the chapter, let's call it chapter 17. I have no idea, is in that chapter. Just go look it up, download the book. You can buy the book on Amazon, whatever. But all of this is in there. Okay. Who am I? Again, my name is Chris Hunter. We talked about that. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of roofingsites.com, author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. We're members of the NRCA, RCAT, HARCA, Roofing Contractors Association of Texas, Houston Area Roofing Contractors Association. I get mixed up with all the letters there, right? But we are part of the industry here and have been since 2018. Now, I personally have been doing search engine optimization since 1998. That's when I first ranked my website. And if you actually do your history lesson on that, that's way before Google even came out. Okay. So my first website that I ranked was a personal website on Yahoo, because I knew when I was in the Air Force working on this jet sitting back over here, right, that when I got out of the Air Force, I wanted to be a web designer and own a web design company in College Station, Texas. So I started figuring out how to beat my competitors. Okay. Got ranked on Yahoo. And then, of course, when Google came out, started working on figuring that out because it was a much better search engine than Yahoo ever was. Okay. This dates me. I've been doing this stuff a really, really, really long time. The math on that, what is that? 26 years, something like that. You know, I'm just an old, as my dad would say, I'm an old fart doing this stuff. So, random fact, I love smoking Texas barbecue. So if you are in College Station, Texas, make sure that you let me know. I will smoke up a brisket for you. Just give me at least 24 hours notice on that one. And we will eat some Texas barbecue together, okay? Next, I'm on a mission to double the size of 100 roofing companies by 2028, all right? Some of the things that we're going to talk about here today can help you drastically move that needle, okay? So let's jump right into it. Everything that I talk about, what I wrote my book on, is based off of this marketing system, okay? The 4R roofing marketing system. It's made up of 4 pillars. I'm not going to go super deep in on this because in a couple of months, I'll be running a workshop on how to assess every single piece in the 4R marketing system to make sure that you have it all set up correctly, okay? So the first is reputation. It's your base. It's your pillar. Right? It is your foundation of absolutely everything that you do for your marketing for your company. If this pillar, if there's something wrong with it, nothing else that we do is ever going to work. Nothing else that you ever do is ever going to work. And we've proven this time and time and time again when roofers have maybe 6, reviews on their Google business profile, and they keep asking, well, why isn't the marketing working? Well, you don't get enough reviews. You need more reviews. Okay. But it's not just about reviews. It's about, your website. Is it attracting people or detracting people? Does it actually convert people that go to that and still trust that you're the choice roofer versus a choice in the market? Okay. Other parts of that we consider parts of this pillar of social media, because when people go to your social media and you haven't posted in 2 to 3 years, the very first thing that goes through their mind, are these guys even in business anymore? Right? That's the last thing that we want going through anyone's mind when we're trying to attract them to reach out to us. So that's the reputation pillar. The next pillar is reach, getting in front of more people today than knew about us yesterday. This is the pillar that most people come to us about. It is, things like search engine optimization, Google Maps, Google Ads, Facebook ads, local service ads, basically getting in front of more people today, right? It's a pretty complicated pillar. There's a lot of things that work and don't work, right? And as things don't work, as things stop working, we take them out of this pillar. And pretty much any one of these pillars. That's why it's a good framework to use for any marketing, for any company out there. Okay. Next pillar is resell. We're going to talk a lot about this one today. Okay. This is literally just going back to your database over and time again, because you are 10 times more likely to sell to somebody who has purchased from you before in the past. But yet most roofers walk away from the sale, and that's it. There was no other touch back again to that customer who had a positive experience, most likely with you. Right. And there's all sorts of things that you can sell to them again. Okay. The last pillar here is referral. Okay. This is, we all love referrals, and this is a very important pillar, but yet most roofing companies that I have assessed, that I have interviewed, right, out of those thousands that we've interviewed, none of them, not one, had a good referral program in place that was on their website, that they sent out via email, that they periodically sent out text messages or, phone calls. None of their employees even knew what their referral program was, right? So this system, it's got to get out of the owner's head and put on paper and put into a system. Okay. And systemized and make sure that you're moving forward. I did a whole workshop on referrals, I expanded on what's in the book quite a bit on this. And I gave all sorts of really cool systems away. If you weren't able to see that, it's on our YouTube channel. I highly recommend that you go and implement those. We went over not just referrals from homeowners, but we went over how to get referrals from insurance agents and how to get referrals, most importantly, from realtors, right? And how to be the hero, how to position them as the hero for that. I'll let y'all go through that. It's over on our YouTube channel, and all of the systems, including plug and play scripts. All right, that's not what we're here for today, but this is the 4R marketing system. Okay, this is the 4R roofing marketing system. It's made up of those 4 pillars: referral, resell, reach, and reputation, with reputation being the absolute foundation. All right, you're already paying for leads, right? And why not maximize them? Every lead that you have ever paid for, okay, you want to make sure that you maximize that. So typically what we see here is that leads are acquired. No follow-up is given whatsoever on those leads, right? From the roofing company, from the sales staff, from even the marketing part, right? And so that just ends up in complete wasted leads. You're just throwing that money away. The problem with that is that those leads cost anywhere in between $100 to $300 typically, right? Per phone call, per email address that you get. So what we want to do is we want to actually acquire those leads. We want to reactivate them, okay? Meaning that as those leads go stale, okay, if your sales follow-up wasn't on point, they didn't go with you, whatever, okay, we want to go back to them periodically so that we can get more profit, because we already bought that lead. We bought that homeowner's information one way, fashion, or another because they reached out to us, okay? The next is that most thing, and I've talked about this a lot, right? Lead gen, really, it's sexy. Retention is smarter though, right? We want to make sure that we squeeze more juice out of every single job that you have ever done. And that starts with upsells, cross-sells, and reactivations. Okay. Cost to acquire a new roofing lead, again, $150. We see $100 to $300 range, sometimes upwards, and depends on your market, right? We have a market that we're working in that is really even higher than that, $500, $600, but it's also a higher end roof. Okay. So the rule of thumb here is that you want to be no more than 10% of your roof value in your market. Okay. Either way, $150 to $300, right? Cost of resell to an existing customer, by the way, $0 to $5. Okay. I don't know about you. I would much rather go with this other route if I could. Yeah. And of course, most profitable businesses, they win on lifetime value, like LTV, right? Not just on volume. All Fortune 500 companies understand this principle. Every single one of them. Okay. This principle is a very, very powerful principle. Let's talk about how to do this, right? And this is what I call the resell flywheel. Okay. What this means is that we have 4 main different types of campaigns, right? Offers, if you will, that we can run. You have upsells. All right. These are things like upselling them on in the initial sale. You're trying to do upsells, right? Everyone tries to do that. Add on gutters, add on windows, possibly add on siding, get better quality shingles, whatever, right? There's all sorts of upsells that you could do inside of the sale itself. All right. But after the sale, what do? Well, you can go back to those people and try to sell them, right, on something else. You can go to them with a cross-sell of something else as well. We have some customers, right, that some clients that we've gone back with solar offers. We've gone back with siding offers. We've gone back with windows offers, gutters, you name it, right? Heck, we've got a client right now that we're working on a Christmas light cross-sell. Okay. So these are things that you can sell to them that aren't mainly part of the main thing of what they purchase from you. Okay. Next, you've got seasonal type campaigns, right? Offers, if you will. These are things kind of like, let's clean out your gutters. Let's wash your roof. Let's put up those Christmas lights. Okay. That's a cross sell and a seasonal thing, because obviously that only happens one time a year, right? This time of year. Last thing are unsold leads. All right. We want to, anyone who has not purchased from us before, we want to go back to those folks and periodically ask, hey, did your problem get solved? Because if it didn't, we want to be the right ones. We want to be the ones, right, that they contact. So hopefully this makes sense. And why I call this a flywheel is because if you get this right with all of these, your resell engine, your resell machine is just going to churn and churn and churn more and more leads out for you. All right. And it's just a matter of putting the offer out, finalizing what the offer is going to be. And we're going to talk about this whole framework here that we've got, but just getting it out there and out of your brain is the hardest part. All right. So let's talk about, and I call it a toolbox because guess what? We're roofers, right? So what's in your upsell and cross-sell toolbox, right? There are opportunities out there everywhere, right? So we've got windows, we've got siding, we've got gutters, we've got solar, we've got insulation, we've got Christmas lights. Heck, we've got gutter guards, we've got roof rejuvenation, roof cleaning, gutter cleaning. Heck, if you've got a partner, right, for fencing that you can send those leads to, you get them interested, send them over to your fencing guy. Guess what? You're going to collect some money from that. And you didn't have to pay anything in order to do it because that customer already trusts you and they're willing to say, yes, I need a new fence. I need new decks. I need a new arbor in my backyard. I need an outdoor kitchen, right? All of these things are part of the home. And even if you don't offer that service, you could still offer it, right? We're entrepreneurs, right? Let's offer things that people want and solve their problems. Okay. So let's talk about the second step. All right. First step was picking, what kind of a campaign that we're going to create. Second step is let's formalize an offer. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys an easy chat prompt here. Okay. And I think I've got it written down somewhere. But this prompt is real easy. Write a 2 text, 2 email, and 2 call campaign to promote offer, whatever your offer is, to audience, whoever your audience is. Okay. The more detail that you can give ChatGPT, the better. Okay. So let's say that we want to write a 2 text, 2 email, 2 call campaign to promote gutter cleaning, if that's something that you want to offer, to homeowners who have purchased from us in the past year. Okay. They already trust you. So it's an easy sell. Okay. You're going to get a few hands that go up. You're going to make a little bit more money. You send a guy out there to do the gutter cleaning. Okay. These are things that help keep you busy, but it also keeps money coming in. So pick your offer, plug in the prompt. Oh, here's my prompt here. Here we go. 2 text, 2 email, 2 call campaign to promote offer to audience. Okay. Take a screenshot of this if you want to. You don't necessarily have to, because this is in the workbook that you're going to get at the very end. We're going to go over some of these things as well. Okay. All right. So let's go through and do all of these. Let's pick an offer from the toolbox. All right. I'm going to pick one of you out there, right? Scott, give us an offer, something that you want to sell.
Yeah, we are expanding into siding after doing roofing only for the last 1.5 years. So we want to create awareness to that and then get some aggressive financing terms of 6 months, no payment, no interest. For me to sign up with it.
Okay. All right. So let's go over to chat real quick and let me get it set up and I'll pull it over to the screen that you guys can see. And let's do it. Okay. So real easy. Let me go back to my prompt. Write a 2 text, 2 email, and 2 call campaign to promote siding with an offer of, what did you say, 10% off?
It's a 6-month, no interest, no payment financing.
Interest payment financing to homeowners that have bought from us in the past year. Fix my spelling here, although chat doesn't care. It figures it out. All right. So it's coming up with it, right? Day 1, day 3 for text 1 and 2. Hey, contact first name, it's company name. And I guess we could have put that information in the prompt as well, right? We're offering 6 months, no interest financing on siding projects for past customers only. Want to freshen up your home's look before the holidays? Reply yes, and we'll send details. Easy, right? You want to keep it nice and short and easy. But what I have also found, don't put links in with SMSs. Okay. That gets you put on the spam list pretty quickly on that one. All right. Just a simple yes or respond with whatever, and you can have that tagged inside of your CRM when that happens. All right. So it gave us an email. It gave us 2 texts, 2 emails, even gave us a couple of call scripts. Okay. This looks pretty good to me and probably good enough to test out. Okay. So that took 2 minutes in order to set up that part of the campaign, right? The other part, what we're going to talk about here, let me get past here. Then what you want to do is you want to take that, okay, and we want to actually flow it out, right? And just kind of in our brain, when are we going to do which action, all right? I like to do this in a table. So it's real easy. Just put a table inside of a Google Doc or Word document or Excel. You can do this in there or Google Sheets, right? Step 1, step 2, all the way through to step 6, and just line it out, right? SMS, you could take completely those, exactly what it gave you, and drop it into those cells, okay? Put the timing on there and flow it out there so that when you put this into a system, hopefully you're putting it in some sort of CRM, right? That's going to do this on an automated way to do it. Okay. In ours, the appointment machine, super easy to set up something like this right here and add people to this campaign. The trick with SMS, as I have found, right? And we can talk about this here in a little bit, but the trick with SMS is obviously keep it short, keep it simple, but if you've got an email list of like 10,000, don't text 10,000 people in one day. You're going to get put on a ton of spam lists on that one. Okay. And possibly get your phone number banned altogether or blocked. Now, what do you do then? Well, you got to have your tech stack, right? You got to have your technology stack, not a tech person, but a tech staff, tech software, right? What's your CRM that you're going to put this into? Now, there's all sorts of things that are out there. Of course, there's, what we use, the appointment machine. You could do this inside of MailChimp. You could do this inside of HubSpot. There's tons of automation avenues to set this up in. We choose the appointment machine because it's our CRM that we use. Okay. So make sure though, that you also have assigned it to somebody who's going to follow up. That's kind of the key. Is that if someone does actually say yes, then you have somebody calling and following up and setting that appointment. Or even better, you've got AI following up and setting that appointment. Okay. Either way that you do it, just make sure you at this stage, we want to, hopefully, what your technology stack is going to be and who's going to reply. Okay. Next step, track it or trash it. All right. We want to make sure that we are tracking absolutely everything in marketing in general. We want to make sure that how many opens did we get? In fact, I think I've got that list right here. This is something that my coach says to me all the time. What gets measured improves. Okay. If you've ever gone on a weight loss journey, right? I do this periodically. I have to lose a little bit of weight. Well, guess what? If you don't know what your weight is, how are you going to know that you're improving on losing it, right? So we want to make sure that we're in marketing tracking this type of stuff for these types of campaigns. We want to track our open rate. We want to track our clicks. How many clicks did we actually get? How many replies did we get on that campaign? Did it only generate one reply or did it not generate anything at all? That could mean that the offer just fell flat, right? Test out another offer. How many appointments were booked based off of that campaign? How much revenue did we make? And how much cost did it cost to us in order to do that? All right. And I only say this if there's some sort of a bonus involved, something that we have to pay out of our pocket for them to take action. Okay. That would be the only cost I would think. Okay. Now, this is kind of a key to it all, right? And this is going to vary based off of the system that you're setting this up in, right? Obviously, you want to have some sort of a trigger for when somebody replies. Okay. That's set up at some sort of an automation that lets you know that somebody replied. Okay. That could take an action of letting you your staff know, right? Via text. We do it via text, via email, and via the system itself. It comes up with a little notification. Okay. I recommend 3 different ways for those, at least 2, and that's one via text message, one via email, right? So if anyone says yes, you want someone right there, right then, knowing that, oh, this person said yes. Okay. I need to contact them. Okay. But that's kind of the trigger part, is when somebody replies. And then tags. Okay. You want to first tag it as whatever that the offer is. Okay. Is my typical standard way of doing it. So let's say right now we're doing a 10% off for Christmas lights for a campaign for a client. That's literally the tag, so that when someone is put into that campaign, they're first tagged with that. Okay. The reason for that is that then I can filter down with that tag and know exactly who responded and what everything came out of that specific campaign. I can also set it to where we can have different automations and replies back just specifically for that person in that campaign that replied back. Okay. Hopefully this makes sense. It's hard to understand it without actually seeing it. Okay. So the other parts of the triggers is that we also want to have a couple of other automations in here, by the way, right? Everything should be a trigger. If someone opened it, we should automate something, trigger some sort of a workflow. If someone clicked on something, we should automate a workflow for that. If someone replied to something, we should automate a workflow for that. If someone booked, well, definitely want to make sure that there's some sort of automation, making sure that they understand to be there, when you're going to be there. Okay. And then of course, revenue kind of a thing. So when they actually pay, we want to trigger that as well. Thank them. Send out a nurture campaign to thank them for the job. Okay. All right. Next, all of this should be automated, right? We talked about all of this. That's exactly what I've been talking about in this last slide here. But yes, you can automate just about everything, right? And should you? No. We have a client that automates a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff, and almost too much. And then they rely on that without the human element. You've got to, in my mind, have both of those, right, to make any automations work. And by the way, don't ever automate something that you have never done before, right? Have a process built for something before manually. You always want to make sure that you are automating things that you're already doing to take time back in and put it back on your plate. Okay. All right. So what happens after the campaign, right? Again, we don't want those people to just sit out there and we're never going to contact them again. Okay. So let's ask them for reviews. Let's ask them for referrals, right? Those other 2 pillars, right, in the 4R system. Let's do an annual tune-up on this system. Every system, in my opinion, every marketing system, every sales system should have periodic tune-ups where you're checking to make sure, is this the most fine-tuned? Is that even a word? Mostly fine-tuned that it could possibly be, right? If the answer to that is no, then how do we make this even better? Okay. How do we improve the conversion rate? How do we improve the open rates? How do we improve any of this stuff, right? If we run this campaign again next year, like let's say for the Christmas lights, if we run that campaign again next year, how are we going to do it better? Okay. Next, newsletters. Newsletters, in my opinion, are the most valuable thing that you can implement in your business. For us, it wraps everything that we do up together for our clients. So blogs, any kind of postings for job site photos, any kind of reviews that they got that month, right? A monthly newsletter in the roofing industry is something that nobody does. And I know this because I've interviewed thousands of people, thousands of roofing company owners. Nobody does this, but to me, it's the ultimate leverage tool. Okay. If you're giving people valuable content, you get to stay in their inbox. If you stay in their inbox, you get opens. If you get opens, people still trust you enough, right? So it's just, again, it's a flywheel effect. And that's what we want in our business. We want that flywheel effect. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do have a monthly newsletter that goes out no matter what. Okay. In that I've outlined, do your blogs, any blogs that you've done, any kind of social posts that really hit well. Okay. Anything that's going on in your company, right? Your executive assistant just got married, right? Your own kids got married, whatever, had babies. Let's share that with everyone in our database. Okay. Let's personalize it as much as we possibly can. Okay. So let's talk about some tips and tricks, right? I like these tips and tricks because this is where we kind of boil down a lot of things. First, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate these campaigns. These campaigns can get very complicated very quickly if you allow them to. I recommend that you keep it as simple as you possibly can. Okay. A great example, we were just literally on a phone call with a client, and he was talking about that he was listening to a podcast from someone in our industry that was saying that their people that he recommends that you contact somebody 15 times the first day that they reach out to you. That's a little overkill, right? I would have to go listen to the podcast, but the very first thing that we all talked about is that is way overkill. Okay. And you're just going to turn people off, right? People don't want to be contacted 15 times, but if you do a simple campaign like this periodically, right, then you'll probably retain the rights to be either in their inbox or that $1,000 machine that's sitting in their pocket. Okay. Next, track and test, right? Track offers, emails, conversions, track all of this stuff quarterly. All right. Every single time that you send something out, put it into a spreadsheet, keep track of it so that next time that you send something like this out, then you know exactly what's working, what's not working. Okay. Did what we do improve this year versus last year on this offer? Make it easy to hire you. I see this so many times, right? Add a call to action in every single piece that you send out. SMS, email. As you can see from that example, type yes if you're interested. That's a call to action, right? Make it as simple as you possibly can for them to hire you. This just also includes like having a phone number on your website. You can't imagine how many websites that I go to that don't even have a simple phone number for me to find in the top part of their website. Okay. That's part of our checklist because it is so important. We want to make it easy as we possibly can for people to get in touch with us. Don't abuse your list, right? Don't do those 15 text messages in one day. Don't do that. Also, if you've got a list of 10,000, don't send that out in one day. Okay. Drip those things out. All CRMs have that ability to drip those out nowadays. The other part of don't abuse your list in my mind is that, so if you've ever heard of a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Gary V, a lot of people know him in the marketing industry, and he's just a very popular kind of guy. He wrote this book a long time ago. I think I read it in 2012, right? Called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. Okay. So his point on this is that marketing is kind of like boxing, right? He was trying to make an analogy there that it's like boxing. Boxers don't go out and constantly try to hit you with that left hook. Okay. They don't do that. What they do is they'll jab, 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 then come in with the right hook. Okay. Marketing should be the same. The jabs in Gary V's terminology are value. We're providing value, value, value. Okay. And so that's where those newsletters come into effect there, is that you're constantly giving people value, right? Hopefully your blogs are valuable enough for them to read, okay? How to do this and how to spot signs of this and those types of things, okay? It keeps them interested. Keep sending those out. And the right hook, by the way, is the offer, if you haven't already guessed. Okay. We only want a right hook every once in a while, not all the time. Most marketers get it wrong. Most roofing companies get it wrong. And all they're doing, and when you go to their social media account, offer, 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 offer. That's all you ever see, right? We want to do just the opposite. We want to provide value first and then an offer later. Because if they trust us enough to read our stuff, if they trust us enough to follow us, if they trust us enough to even open their email or look at the SMS on their $1,000 machine sitting in their pocket, right? Then you've bought that trust enough to send them an offer. Okay. So don't abuse your list. This is an obvious one. Do great work. Okay. If you do great work, you're going to attract people coming back to you. But, be a good company, have good customer service, show up on time, all of those kinds of things, and actually do what you say you're going to do. Right. And this is kind of in my mind, it's a no-brainer for business, but there's so many businesses that don't do this. And it's crazy to me. Put someone in charge of this whole thing. Don't let it be you. If you're the business owner, if you're the roofing company owner, don't let this be you putting all of these things in place. Yes, it is an asset. Yes, it is something that you can use over and over and over again, but don't let this always be you setting this up. As you grow, you're going to have too many things to do, right? And this is one of those things that can sit on the wayside very, very easily. So put someone in charge of this as you grow. That could be an executive assistant. This could be a marketing person. Heck, it could be someone like us, right? That does this for you. Just don't do it all yourself. Last, speed matters, right? Speed to lead, speed to sale. If someone responds, follow up right away, as soon as you possibly can, right? Within 5 minutes. All right. Speed to sale. This is an easy one, should be an easy one, but you want to make sure that you get them an estimate quickly. You want to make sure that you follow up with them as many times as you possibly can. Okay. The faster you are to get them their estimate, the faster that you are to set an appointment, the faster that you are on any piece of your main sales pipeline, the better. Okay. And ultimately it just makes the marketing so much easier, so much better, because you're actually converting those leads. Last tip is do what everyone else isn't doing. Okay. I mentioned a lot of things here in this very short workshop of the things that people are not doing. All right. What I have noticed in the industry after interviewing and auditing, assessing, whatever you want to call it, thousands of marketing plans for companies, or lack of marketing plans for roofing companies. So newsletters is one of those. Upsell cross-sell campaigns. This is another big one. Nobody's doing it. Okay. And my workshop from last month, right, with the referrals, nobody's doing that. I can tell you that right now. Absolutely nobody. No companies are doing that. Okay. Absolutely everything in that workshop is handed to you. Same thing with this one, to do stuff that people aren't doing. Okay. So now that you've made it to the end, right, I'll let you download the workbook. The workbook is at roofingsites.com/upsell-workbook. If you are watching this, use the QR code. Michelle is also sharing that out in the chat. Okay, so just click on that in the chat. Should bring you open to this workbook here. Let me open it up. Okay, just scroll on down to this link right here, the Upsell Cross-Sell Workbook, and that's this right here. It will prompt you to copy it into your own drive. Just do that, and it'll say copy of Upsell and Cross-Sell Campaign Builder for Roofers. It's got everything in here that you need. Okay. It's got the prompts. It's got the different types of offers that you can add in, for there. It's got the different seasonal campaign ideas that we have here. It has a section here on how do you do database reactivation? How do you get someone back that you have contacted before, that has contacted you before, back into your world. Okay. It's got a section in here on how to map out your campaign flow. I know that we kind of briefly went over that here, and how to track and optimize this whole thing. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this. Hopefully you're going to implement this in your business. Next, get a free book. Everybody likes free stuff. Hey, I will send you this book. Just use the QR code or go to go.roofingsites.com. And you will get a free digital copy of my book that I published, The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. It has 336 pages of ideas of exactly what we just went over right here. And my past, 26? Am I doing the math on that right? 27 years of experience in the marketing industry. I'm getting old, man. Anyways, go there to get a free book, go.roofingsites.com. Next, if you're a roofing company owner, like to know how all this stuff works, but really just want someone to do it for you, we are here for you. Just let us help. Go to roofingsites.com/schedule. That's really hard to say, by the way. roofingsites.com/schedule in order to schedule a meeting with us and to have us assess your marketing, right? We will go through a list of questions with you, figure out exactly what is wrong with your marketing and give you a plan to get it back on track. Okay. And then it's totally free to you. Of course, we want to work with you. So we will also have a time for that as well. But use the QR code or go to roofingsites.com/schedule in order to schedule a time with us here. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Roofer Growth Hacks. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you connect with me online. I'm on LinkedIn or Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. We are out there. Okay. Or you can check out our website at roofingsites.com or roofergrowthhacks.com. And while you're there, listen to other previous episodes. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, roofingsites.com. Since 2018, roofingsites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up for a roofing marketing session with us. Also, this last year, I published my book, The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. If you're a roofing company owner and you don't have this book in your hands, I will send you a free digital copy. Just go to go.roofingsites.com and I'll send you a free copy of my book. Well, roofers, join me next time when we connect with another great roofing entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter. Thanks and gig 'em.